We've got quite a mix today. Some really personal stories about, financial struggles, but also some big shifts in communities and even some pretty critical healthcare reforms.
Yeah, it's a broad range.
Okay, let's jump right in. First up, something that really hits home for, I think, a lot of people. It's this healthcare cost crisis. Just a stark example.
Yeah.
We saw this report about an American woman. She gets a letter from Blue Shield Blue Cross. Her monthly premium. It's jumping to, get this, $2,627.
Wow. Per month.
Per month. Just imagine that hitting your mailbox.
Unbelievable.
And she put it so bluntly. It's just devastating. She said, if I choose health insurance, I lose my house. If I choose my house, I lose my health insurance. Either way, I'm kind of screwed.
Wow. That's an impossible choice.
Right. And you can feel the despair. She even said, I'm not even mad. I just don't care anymore because there's just no winning. It just paints such a picture of defeat,
Absolutely. And what's really striking is how much that feeling seems to be shared. Looking at some comments, you see it echoed over and over.
Like what?
Well, one person put it really bluntly, said something like, healthcare is a complete scam ever since Obamacare. And they felt, most people are spending 10 grand or more a year just to cover maybe $2,500 in actual costs.
So a feeling of being ripped off, essentially.
Exactly. A deep sense that the system isn't just failing, it's actively working against them. And the numbers, well, they kind of back that feeling up.
You mean the official figures?
Yeah. Reports are showing the average cost for employer plans expected to go over $16,000 per employee in 2025.
$16,000.
Wow. And for individuals, it was around, almost $9,000 in 2024. Families, over $25,000.
These are just staggering amounts of money.
They really are. And people react strongly. Some comments we saw just called it criminal, plain and simple.
So when you boil it down, these rising costs, they're not just numbers on a page. They're forcing people into these awful trade-offs, really chipping away at, the basic sense of security. It's a huge pressure point.
No question about it.
Okay, moving from that kind of financial pressure to a totally different arena, social media, and the kind of massive, sometimes unexpected power it holds.
Oh, the influencer story.
Yeah, the Kiss Cafe situation in San Francisco. The restaurant closed down after the owner, Luke Sung, apparently shamed a TikTok influencer. Scar Leiber, I think. She had about 15,000 followers then.
Right. And the details are just wild.
Tell me about it. Apparently, she was invited for some kind of promo deal, but then Sung allegedly tells her audience isn't right for the place. Maybe, hinting they couldn't afford it.
Oof. That's risky.
And then, apparently, he brags about being a James Beard nominee, which is, a huge deal in the food world, and says his daughter has like 600,000 followers, sort of rubbing it in.
Yeah, not a great move. And this is where that social media power just explodes, right?
Exactly. What happened next?
So the influencer posts her side of the story. The video just takes off. Gets something like 25 million views.
25 million?
Yeah. Astonishing. And the fallout was fast. Kiss Cafe announces they're closing permanently. Even another place linked to him, Domo Sushi, apparently closed too.
Wow. All from that one interaction.
Pretty much. And the reactions, the comments on this, they really show two very different takes on it.
Right.
On one side, you have people saying, this is the dark side of social media influencing. The idea that a business owner makes a call and an influencer can just unleash an army of simps and destroy businesses.
Seeing it as an abuse of online power.
Right. But then there's the other side, people saying, look, folks just don't like bullies. One comment put it, society as a whole doesn't stand for it.
And that explains her follower jump.
Could be. She went from 15,000 followers to reportedly 450,000 after this blew up.
That's incredible growth. But, you could argue the owner brought it on himself with that kind of arrogance, couldn't you? How do you sort that out?
It's tough. It's a really complex ethical knot, isn't it? It definitely shows how fast reputation can be made or broken online now. One perceived slight, and boom, collective judgment kicks in. It changes everything for a business.
Yeah, absolutely changes the game. Okay, let's shift gears again into the political arena. Things just keep getting more intense there, don't they?
Seems that way.
We saw reports that Alyssa Slotkin, the Democratic politician, called President Trump an existential threat to democracy. Pretty strong words.
Very strong. And loaded.
And here's the crucial part. The original post claims that this type of rhetoric, this language, is similar to stuff that was floating around before those two assassination attempts on President Trump. The post called these new statements shameful.
Okay, so connecting the current rhetoric to past violence. That's a serious claim.
It is. And you can imagine the reactions it provoked.
Oh, I bet. What did the comments say?
Well, some were incredibly intense. One person was clearly frustrated, saying something like, "What's shameful is that the GOP does nothing about it." They felt if the GOP held Democrats accountable, maybe they'd, stop saying things like that.
So blaming inaction on the other side for enabling the rhetoric.
Kind of, yeah. A desire for more pushback, it seems. And then there were others.
Yeah.
Even more direct. One comment just said, "Arrest this vile woman."
Wow. Straight to calling for arrest.
Yeah. The intensity really highlights how incredibly divided things are. Language isn't just talk anymore. People see it as having real, potentially dangerous consequences.
Absolutely. But then, the counter-argument is always about free speech, right? Even harsh political speech, where's the line?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is there a clear line anymore? Or is this just where we are now, with tensions constantly ratcheting up? It feels pretty concerning.
It does. A difficult dynamic to navigate, for sure.
Okay, let's move to something a bit different, but it definitely sparked a conversation. It's about work-life balance, I guess.
The 40-hour week story.
That's the one. This anecdote about a woman who apparently quit her full-time job. Why? Because working 40 hours a week was, quote, too exhausting.
Okay. And she actually said that.
Yep. The quote was, "I literally haven't showed in 3 weeks because I haven't had time. 40 hours a week is too exhausting."
3 weeks. No shower.
That's what she said. And, yeah, people had thoughts, lots of thoughts, some disbelief, maybe some head scratching.
Can imagine. What were the comments like? Probably had a field day with that one.
Oh, yeah. Some were pretty funny, actually. Like, one person just did the math, 40 hours work, that's 8 hours a day, leave 16 hours, sleep for 8, you still got 8 hours left. So how do you not have time to shower?
Right. Like, basic time management seems off there.
Exactly. Another comment was even more direct, called it mental illness, not oppression, if someone goes 3 weeks without showering. Pretty blunt.
Yeah, that's harsh. But it taps into something interesting, doesn't it? Is this about changing attitudes towards work, especially maybe with younger generations? Or is it something else entirely?
Like maybe burnout.
Yeah.
Or maybe people just aren't willing to grind it out for jobs they don't feel are rewarding them enough.
Could be. Or maybe it's just an outlier case that got attention.
Yeah.
But the reactions definitely show where societal expectations still are around, personal responsibility and just getting things done, even basic hygiene.
Yeah. It definitely pushes buttons about what we consider a normal work ethic.
For sure.
All right, let's look now at some bigger cultural shifts happening in our cities, specifically Minneapolis. It's got one of the largest Somali populations in the U.S., right?
That's right. A significant community there.
And there's this story about Palmer's Bar closing down. It's been there for 119 years. Like, think about that history.
Wow, 119 years. That's an institution. And it's closing. Why?
The reason given is people's changing drinking habits. But here's the twist, the really interesting part. The building, the bar, it's been bought by the oldest Somali mosque in the city. They're turning it into a community center.
Huh. So an old bar becoming a mosque's community center. That's quite a transformation.
Isn't it? And it's apparently part of a bigger change in that whole neighborhood, Cedar Riverside.
Right. That area used to be known for, like, bars and punk rock clubs, right?
Yeah.
Icons of a certain Minneapolis scene.
Exactly. But now, it's increasingly becoming home to African restaurants, shops, businesses catering to the growing African and Muslim community there.
So a real demographic and cultural shift playing out on the ground.
Yeah. And as you expect, people have strong feelings about it. The comments reflect that.
Let me guess. Some concerns about change.
Definitely. One comment framed it as unchecked immigration prioritizing foreign populations over American workers and values. Real concern there about who's being prioritized.
A common sentiment in these discussions.
And another comment was much more urgent. Just a warning. You guys had best wake up.
So a sense of alarm about the direction of change.
Seems like it. It really captures that complex dynamic, doesn't it? When a city changes, when old places give way to new ones reflecting new people, new cultures, it's adaptation, but it can also feel like loss for some. There's excitement, nostalgia, and, yeah, sometimes real tension.
A powerful example of how communities evolve, for better or worse, depending on your perspective.
Okay, our last story for today takes us back to healthcare, but this one is about trust. Trust in the system itself, and some major reforms.
This sounds serious.
It really does. We saw Secretary Kennedy making what was described as a horrifying announcement. Allegations that some hospitals were harvesting organs from patients who still showed signs of life.
Wait, what? Harvesting organs from people still showing signs of life?
That's the allegation. Just horrifying, like the description said.
That's beyond horrifying. That shakes the very foundation of medical trust.
Absolutely. But the good news, if you can call it that, is that action is apparently being taken. Under Secretary Kennedy at HHS, they're rolling out sweeping reforms.
What kind of reforms?
Things like exposing negligence, making major systemic changes, and crucially, decertifying any organization found to be violating the, quote, sanctity of human life.
Okay, so strong action, decertification, is a big deal.
It sounds like it. A necessary step, it seems, given the severity of the claims.
And the public reaction must be intense.
Oh, yeah. Looking at the comments, people are shocked and angry. One called it completely horrifying and said it's just another reason why people no longer trust hospitals, doctors, and other medical staff.
Understandable. That kind of breach is profound.
That same comment actually thanked RFK Jr., Secretary Kennedy, for making this a priority, for trying to fix it.
So some recognition for tackling it head on, but the damage to trust.
Exactly. Another comment was stark. Someone said, "Let me know when this is cleaned up. Until then, I will no longer have organ donor on my driver's license."
Wow. Taking themselves off the donor list. That shows you the depth of the erosion of trust.
It really does. It raises that huge question. What's the real cost when trust in essential institutions like healthcare just crumbles? And what does it actually take to rebuild it? It seems like transparency and accountability are paramount here.
Especially when you're talking about something as fundamental as the sanctity of human life. The actions being taken sound like they reflect that commitment, thankfully.